Hello, my name is Nurse Recinos, and this is my prospectus I did this semester. Mine is over dangerous factors affecting self-perception. Excuse me. All of us, human beings, have different views and see the world in different lights. We see ourselves in various ways, whether that be negative or positive. All of us as human beings, we're not all going to have the same mindset. Some of us are going to have negative self-image, uh, or positive self-image. Not all of us as human beings have good self-esteem, although it would be nice if we all did. Everyone deserves to have a positive and healthy self-outlook. And what I decided to research over this semester in particular was how we ourselves perceive ourselves, self-perception. And I believe there are three biggest factors in this world that directly affects how we perceive ourselves. That being social media, religion, and aging. Something that all of us have to deal with in life. Most of us, not all of us. Some of them those are the prime causes, I believe, of negative self-perception that or could lead us to have a negative self-perception of ourselves. The key words here in this whole thing, mental health, self-esteem, self-image, religion, social media, bullying, societal roles, and comparison. I want to highlight mental health the biggest in all of this because that's where all of this stems from. How we perceive ourselves, all of it mentally. Those things can affect it greatly, our mental health. Religion can really affect our mental health, how we're brought up into it, or social media, especially in this modern era of social media, it affects it a lot for a lot of us, especially younger people. Self-esteem coincides directly with how social media use, how it can affect it. Self-image, once again, a lot of factors can go into how we perceive our own self-image, whether it be from the posts we see online or how our religion teaches us how we should perceive ourselves, or even how we all age over time. It's undeniable. Not all of us are going to like what we see on our outer selves when we age. Religion, that I'm going to dive into deeper. A lot of us are brought up to be heavily religious, especially in this area that we're in. Not all of us agree with it, and not all of us perceive it as such a great thing. And it can affect people in a lot of negative ways. Social media. I think most young people have at least one sort of social media account, whether it be on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, anything. We're all interconnected in this social media world. Bullying, I'm highlighting that because that's another thing that could affect one's self-perception greatly, whether we're being bullied on social media, or even some people use religion as a tactic to bully others because they don't agree with so-and-so beliefs. Societal roles, that correlates directly a lot with social media. People post a lot on social media because they believe that's their role in this technological society now. And comparison, once again, social media is a big one for a lot of how people perceive themselves. Comparison, we all at least compare ourselves, whether it be on social media or in person. It directly affects how we could perceive ourselves. Starting off with the literature review. Sorry if it's hard to see. It says in a research article that one of them I decided to research over. It's titled "Let Me Take Another Selfie: Further Examination of the Relation Between Narcissism, Self-Perception, and Instagram Posts." Barry states that concerns over societal and physical appearance standards were also correlated with following more users on Instagram that may indicate such concerns are associated with a desire to connect with others, or alternatively, that ideas of physical appearances standards come, in part, from observing other social media posts. Barry states, simply put, narcissism isn't directly related to posting a lot on social media. However, it is related when you do post yourself online. People post online, they want to most of the time want to be perceived by others in a good light, and they want to be perceived by others to fit into societal roles. And that's where that keyword comes from. People post because they want to be perceived in a good light. They want to fit in. They want attention, but attention's not always a bad thing. People think, oh, so and so wants attention, but it's not always a bad thing. Human beings are social creatures. Of course they want attention, and as a society, we post on social media, whether ourselves or anything that we're doing, because we want attention from others. We want others to perceive what we posted about either ourselves or the thing that we're posting about in a good light. And I go on to say, people's self-perception are directly being impacted due to feeling the need to post on social media to fit in. Which is why, most of us might post on social media. In my next part of my literature review, I quoted the article, Changes in Married Older Adults, Self-Perceptions of Aging, the Role of Gender. It delves into the perception of aging in life with a married partner. It is determined that perception of aging with a married partner. It is determined that someone's attitude of their own aging will affect them in the long run, which you can see a lot, whether from the older people around you. Everyone's gonna age. It's just life. Everyone ages, but you don't perceive yourself the same way you do when you were younger, and society has a big emphasis on, youngness, youth, and when you're suddenly not young anymore, not a spry little chicken anymore, you begin to perceive yourself in a negative light just because you're doing something completely normal as a human being, which is aging. There's nothing wrong with it. And I stated, in the view that aging is a social construct, a lot of the time, Kim stated, in the view that aging is a social construct, a lot of the time the woman feels the most negative about her own aging in life. Research shows older women often being more vocal about negative aspects of the marriage than their husbands, and poorer marital quality impacting older women's well-being more than men's. Once again, society places a huge emphasis on youthfulness, youngness, all the ads about wrinkle-free creams, specifically targeted towards, older women, you gotta be wrinkle-free, you gotta keep that skin tight, if not, you're worthless. But, that's not true at all, and men also, they also, of course, deal with the harshness of aging, but women in particular are having, it affects them, their mental, really negatively when they're older, getting told, their beauty isn't as good as it once was just because they're not youthful anymore. And Kim also goes on to say, a large volume of research has noted the link between various health issues and less positive views on aging, often in the direction of self-perception of aging predicting subsequent health issues. Another big issue, there's a lot of health issues that tie in when you begin to view yourself negatively, especially when you're older, besides the normal things like, my body suddenly aching or my back aching, but mentally too, you suddenly feel, worthless when you're older. You feel your body just a negative self-perception overall, and it doesn't go well with already feeling bad about your body just because you're aging. And I said, the way we age can heavily affect how we view ourselves on the outside, especially for older women. And I believe that's something that really need to be looked at as a society. Like, women, not just women, but specifically, but people need to not have such a bad self-perception about aging. It's normal. It's everyone goes through it. It's not something that should be put in a bad light a lot of the time. My final part of my literature review, in the article titled Exploring the Relationship Between Frequency of Instagram Use, Exposure to Idealized Images, and Psychological Well-Being in Women, it delves into the relationship between frequent social media use and how it affects the women using it. Sherlock states results show that the frequency of Instagram use is correlated with depressive symptoms, excuse me, self-esteem, general and physical appearance anxiety, and body dissatisfaction. And that the relationship between Instagram use and each of these variables is mediated by social comparison orientation. Basically, this particular research article went into the study, went on to conclude how social media standards and posting can have a negative impact on one's self-perception overall, which is completely true. Besides, myself personally having to deal with that, social media is probably one of the biggest negative impacts on especially younger people's self-perception. Frequently, comparing yourself to others on there, comparing others' success to your own on there, people fail to realize that people post the best of themselves on there. They don't post, the human side, the failures, the ugliness of it all, People only see what people want to show. And that can affect people because all we see when we're just, scrolling idly through our phone, we see the good. And we don't see the bad of that we all go through. And when we don't see that, it's like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Sorry about that. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but no. And next I want to go into my rationale. Aging, social media, and religious aspects all affect one's self-perception. And one study as to how social media participants of Instagram felt confirmed to post most of the time to post based off their perception. Or the study as to how aging can impact self-perception for couples over their lifetime. The main aspect I, however, am interested in is how all these everyday aspects of life can negatively impact one's self-perception. These are all normal everyday things that we all do. We go to church every week, or we post on social media every day, or we're on social media every day, posting or scrolling. And over time, it really hurt you in the long run. And the next part of my rationale, a hypothesis for it. We hypothesize that social media use among college students is related to the detriments of self-perception. Neither is such behavior gender-specific. I want to highlight that. It's not gender-specific. I know I placed a heavy emphasis on women, but it's same for men, or however you identify as. Everyone goes through these things. They all have a way we perceive ourselves through these different aspects. Alternatively, we tend to show that female college students face more negative impact in social media use, though, than do male college students. We further intend to show a significant correlation between social media use and negative self-perception. That is, we predict that female college students will report that they are more likely to face backlash, harsh judgment, and negative self-image on social media. However, on this particular study, I wanted to particularly focus on women, even though I prefaced it's not stuff like that isn't gender specific, but here I want to specifically, focus on that, women. On the operational definitions, social media usage is defined as these are my main variables. Social media usage is defined as using a platform for communication online with others for different lengths of time, Second variable, societal norms. Societal norms are defined as collective representations of acceptable group conduct, as well as individual perceptions of group conduct. The third one, beauty standards. It's defined as the individual qualifications, particularly women are expected to meet in order to embody the feminine beauty ideal, which you can see a lot, and thus succeed personally and professionally, if they meet the beauty standard. The fifth one is conformity. It's defined as behavior in accordance with socially accepted conventions or standards. And the sixth one, negative self-image, is defined as focusing on one's weaknesses and faults, distorting failure and imperfections. The method that I wanted to go about in my study, or this particular study, the design was, for our study, we plan to determine how two different gender groups, college-age students, perceive themselves when posting onto social media, such as Instagram. By doing so, we hope to conclude the difference between how both genders perceive themselves and the quality of their mental health from posting onto social media. Particularly want to focus on, should have prefaced, however you identify as, how there's a difference between how they are treated whenever they post onto social media, or how social media use overall affects them differently. The participants, we intend to recruit 40 participants from the University of Arkansas Fort Smith for this study. We plan to recruit students who are between the ages from 18 to 25 years old. It is expected we have an even number of participants of both 20 female and 20 male participants. We expect all participants to be of anywhere from freshman to senior standing whilst in the university. We also expect quite a diverse ethnic background of different students when conducting this study at the university. We anticipate for most participants to be single or in a relationship, with little being in a married relationship. So we anticipate. Continued. For the instrument used in this particular study, can't really see it, I'm sorry, but I will read it to you. A flyer that says on it, survey regarding mental health and well-being. It says, do you want to be part of a research study? Do you want to help determine the linking phenomenon between mental health and social media? And do you see social media as something harmful overall? And it finishes with, if any of these questions resonate, please contact Nerissa Recinos, and my email is stated for more information to participate in the study. Thank you. That was the instrument use and procedures. We plan to go about conducting this research study by saying, hello, my name is Nerissa Recinos, and I'm conducting a research study to determine how different genders perceive themselves when posting on the social media. It is an assignment in my research methods class this semester that I'm currently taking. Once we gain permission from the right people, we plan to recruit people by sending emails. We do not expect all to reply, but we do expect enough participants to fill out the emails of surveys when they do receive them. Informed consent part, purpose of the study basically. So is the purpose of social media research. Determining how different genders perceive themselves when posting online. Please read this form and feel free to ask questions you may have before agreeing to participate in this research. If you agree to participate in this study, it will require 20 minutes of your time, and it will begin taking place on April 16th. Simply a survey. This is the participant copy. I'm sorry, once again, you can't really see it, but it's the participant consent form that one would need to sign, and there's also an office copy. And this is the other instrument used, the key code. Some of them of the Likert scale that they would fill out on these would be, it's a Likert scale that starts from like always, sometimes, neutral, almost never to never. Some of them being, I feel insecure when I post onto social media. My mental health is affected by what I see on social media. I feel the need to copy others what they post on social media. That's what they would be filling out. There's another instrument scale, and this one says, social media makes me feel content with my with my outer appearance, and they either say always, sometimes, neutral, almost never, or never. And honestly, my expected outcome for all this, if this did happen, I believe honestly that the results would be quite varied, since not everyone is the same regarding their self-image and outer perception. Some people might be more affected by social media than others. I think it would primarily highlight the fact that yes, social media is one of the driving forces, however, in our society of poor self-image, in our modern society. It's a driving force. And these are my references. Oh, once again, really sorry that you can't really see it, but all the articles that I cited are here in the references. I'm trying my best to show it. And once again, thank you for listening. And once again, thank you. This has been Nurse Recinos. Thank you.